Hi everyone, welcome to this session when we're going to talk about communication skills. Most of the times you find yourself in different settings, which includes, workstation, workspace, in a professional setup, informal setup, at the market, at the bar, at church, different setup. Now, with communication skills, it is going to give you that ability to be able to communicate effectively. Okay, you as a person that is going to be considered as a learned person in the society, it is very vital that you understand the different settings that your skills may be required. Be it at the market, you should be able to explain to the marketeer who is selling tomato out there. You need to be able to talk to a person that is in the bar. You need to be able to talk to a person of any setting, be it the president, anybody across the world. So we're going to dive into this course and learn more about communication skills. But before we begin to look at all that beautiful stuff about communication skills, I want us to dive straight into what we are expected to do for the whole of this entire course during this semester. We'll be able to understand what communication skills is and the different topics that we'll be able to cover. So of course, this course is a course that has so many topics, and in each topic you'll be required to meet a certain target, or you'll be required to meet a certain threshold, be it in marks and be it in assignments and other continuous assessment performances. So let's begin to look at what is communication skills. What is it that we are trying to look at? And that was our rationale. So the aim of this course is to ensure that it equips you as a learner with the essential knowledges or the essential knowledge you need or required to become effective and confident in your communications, okay? Both at the personal level and at a professional level. Now, since you're here, you're learning about this, we're talking about professional setting, okay? And by the end of this course, you'll be able to improve your ability to express yourself clearly, and you'll be able to activate your listening abilities, as well as adapt to different communication styles, okay, for various situations, leading to more successful interpersonal interaction. So what are the objectives? Okay, the objectives of this course is one, to understand the importance of effective communication in personal and the professional life. Secondly, to communicate clearly and precise in various contexts. Thirdly, actively listen and respond to others with empathy. All right, adapt their communication styles to different situations and audiences. So, of course, this will help you to deliver engaging and persuasive presentations. Those of you that want to become public speakers, those of you that want to be training people, those different things that you want to be communicating. For as long as it deals with moving, transferring of information from the encoder to the decoder, or from the person who is recording to a person who is listening, you are good, warm and dry. Okay, so what are things that we're going to look at? So we're going to, the first topic we're going to be looking at, we're going to look at the introduction to communication skills. Introduction to communication skills. Under this part A, we're going to understand the importance of effective communication. Part B, we're going to understand different modes of communication, which is verbal, non-verbal, written, or digital. All right. The third, or C, we're going to look at barriers to effective communications. Barriers to effective communication. So this will be our first topic. Our second topic, we'll look at verbal communication as a topic it's on. Verbal communication, what is involved in verbal communication? What are we talking about when we talk about verbal communication? And apart from that, we're going to look at the power of words and language. Okay, this tongue that you see, very powerful too. Okay, principles of effective verbal communication. We're going to look at some of the principles, and we're going to look at constructive feedback, and active listening. Okay, these are one of the topics. So then at that point, we should be done with chapter 2 or unit 2. We'll go to unit 3. Unit 3, we're going to look at non-verbal communication. So remember, we were looking at in unit 2, we were looking at verbal communication. In unit 3, we're going to look at non-verbal communication. So non-verbal communication, under this A, we're going to look at the impact of body language and gesture, the impact of interpreting and using non-verbal cues, and we're going to look at thirdly, emotional intelligence in communication. How do you, read that your friend is not in good shape to communicate? How do you read that this communication is not fit for continuity? Okay, that is chapter 3. Chapter 4, we're going to look at written communication. Under written communication, we're going to understand, we're going to learn crafting clear and concise written messages, how to concise, and write clear messages, emails, okay, antiquates, professional correspondence, as well as proofreading and editing techniques. So here we're going to understand, those of you that want to be writers, you can be a secretary, you can be working at the front desk, you can be doing different things. This chapter will help you, which is chapter 4. Chapter 5, we're going to look at digital communication. Digital communication, we're understanding effective online communication. This time we're at the point of internet and technological advancement, where gadgets have become very vital to human survival. Okay, so this part we're going to understand, this digital communication. Under part A, we're going to look at effective online communication. How do you effectively communicate online using social media messaging platforms professionally? How can you use these tools to enhance your professional standing as an individual for growth? Then thirdly, under this unit 5, we're going to avoid miscommunication in digital age. Okay, how do you avoid miscommunication in digital age? So one other component of Unit 6, we're going to look at interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication. What are we trying to say? So interpersonal communication, we're talking about building trust, okay? Breaking the rapport in personal and professional relationships, okay? How do you build trust and rapport? How do you build that connection in personal and professional setting? Yeah, okay, already here things can start popping up. How do you ensure that that partner of yours come closer and closer to you? How do you communicate effectively? How do you persuade an individual, a professional, in professional setup, to agree with what your point of view is? Okay, we're going to look at some of the sweet gists at that particular point. The part B, we're going to look at conflict resolution. When you argue, how do you negotiate? How do you negotiate? How do you solve some conflicts? The third part, we're going to look at empathetic communication in challenging situation. You are at the funeral, you are at the sad point where you need to communicate and share the feeling with the rest of the audience. How do you communicate? So we're going to look at empathetic communication in challenging situations. So unit 4, unit 7, of course, we're going to look at public speaking and presentation skills. Here now things begin to get interesting. How do you speak publicly? How do you build those skills to speak publicly? And how do you present yourself? Okay, those are some of the things that we're going to look at. And under this, we're going to look at preparing and structuring impactful presentation. How do you prepare and structure an impactful presentation? Overcoming public speaking anxiety. How do you, avoid the anxiety? The third part, we're going to look at engaging the audience and delivering, compelling messages. How do you engage the audience and ensure that you share the messages that are compelling? Okay, when we're talking about compelling, we're talking about something that reaches out. Okay, something that touches the heart of somebody, something that makes somebody be able to buy into the concept that is being shared. And unit 8, of course, we're going to look at adapting communication. Here, we're going to look at tailoring your communication style to diverse audiences. cross-cultural communication sensitivity, ethical consideration in communication. So this is the part where we should be able to be concluding our outline in different setup. How do you talk to a person, from a different setup, different background? Okay. Then unit 9, we're going to look at group communication and collaboration. How do you effectively communicate in a group? uh, how do you effectively communicate in a group and collaborate? This part, it will help us to effective, it will make you understand the effective group dynamic and team communication. How do you communicate effectively in a group, and how do you build teamwork? Problem solving and decision making team in teams. How do you solve problems in team? To help you understand that. Leadership and communication within the group. Okay, how do you communicate within the group? How do you communicate within the leadership? Okay, with the leadership or within the leadership of the group. You can be a leader, you cannot be a leader, but this will help you into managing the group as well as helping the group move forward under this unit and the skills that you'll be able to acquire. The last part is advanced communication strategies. Of course, with time allowing us, we're going to look at persuasion and influence in communication. How do you put all the influence to you? Okay. Part B, we're going to look at crisis communication and handling difficult conversation. Then, of course, we're going to look at personalized action plans for ongoing improvement. So how then do you personalize action plans for you to improve yourself in the issues of communication? Remember, communication is one part that is long term. You start now and move ahead with communication until you die. The skills that you learn today, they'll continue to improve. Therefore, it is very relevant that you build your ability to communicate. And remember, there's power in the tongue. What this course is going to teach you is that power in the tongue. Okay, the tongue that you have can actually destroy the whole entire world, the power of the tongue. So therefore, it is very relevant that you tame that tongue and you learn skills that are going to help you control that tongue. As you control that tongue, it is going to give you more power to improve yourself and for growth. Okay, as you do that, remember that on the portal, there are study materials that can help you, recommended study material, but anything that is within the confines of the topics that are listed in this course outline, it is welcome. So there will be an assignment that will be designed to help you understand better. There may be a research project and there will be a final exam. So if it's not the research project, you may have a test, a quiz, or any other type of an assessment. Okay, so of course, the assignment is 20 marks. Project, which is individual or group, is 20 marks. Final examination is also 20 marks. Things may likely to change. I may bring an exam, or I may bring a quiz, but whichever the way, whichever the case, you should be able uh, to cope with the academic standard that we bring to you. D is a straightforward thing if you find in plagiarism. I'm sure by now you may have understood that there's plagiarism in academics, which is academic dishonesty. Okay, so that may be a big offense. All right, so make sure that you practice safety and you also understand how to calculate your CA using the GPA method. Okay, so basically, when we talk about the GPA, we're talking about the grade point average, okay, which is what we use to compare your CA and your the marks as you finish. So until we meet next time,